Hi everybody, it's me, Charles Norman, Sports Solutions LLC. We are the creators of AthleticSOS. And in this one, I want to talk to you parents. And if you can't do this one thing, then I don't think you should put your kid in youth sports, to be perfectly honest with you. And I'll talk a little bit more about why that is. And this is no going at parents. I'm gonna keep this short as possible. It's just something that's starting to happen in the last few weeks that kind of it bothers me a little bit. So I've had this before for years with the high school athletes. And so now it's trickling down. The last couple of weeks we've been doing, I've told you guys I want to go from 5 to 17. Our software, AthleticSOS, is for kids that are already in high school that want to try to get an athletic scholarship. And we also have a piece of that for either high schools or travel club programs or for nonprofits. Anyone that's working with kids and trying to move them on to whatever they're going to do next. We have another version of that show 2-year colleges, 4-year colleges, and federally accredited trade schools, right? So if you're a high school or something like that, you use our software, a special version of it. It allows you to find those kind of opportunities for your kids. So when they walk out of high school, we want to reward every single kid that plays sports. We want to reward them with an extra little advantage over everybody else on the high school campus. And so that's kind of how we work. And so for years at the high school level, I would go to a school and we're showing the software and we're talking, and I would get these parents who have kids that play varsity and are playing pretty good. They're not top level, but they could play at the collegiate level if they just put a little bit of effort into searching it out. And these parents would always say to me, they would go, oh, well, you know, Charles, that's pretty cool, but, you know, my kid's good, but they're not college good. You know, I don't think they could play at the next level. And so at first I said, what is going on here? Why are parents that have an opportunity? And I would tell them, I said, you know, there's 20 million kids that attend college in the U.S. every year at some level. I said, only 450,000 of them play sports. And if your kid, let's just say your kid got an opportunity to make a college athletic team, and then later on, and what I found out as time went on is either that they wanted them to go to a particular school and their skill level weren't going to get them to that school. Maybe it's a D1 school, maybe a D2 school, and their kid is NAIA or something like that, or, you know, D3 or whatever's going on. But they wanted their kid to go to this particular school, and their kid wants to play at the collegiate level. That's the other piece that's really important here, if they can get the opportunity. And I have the software. I'm giving you a tool that's going to give you an advantage. But either they wanted that or they seriously didn't think their kid was good enough. And so these are kind of, or the other one is that they thought sports was a thing to keep their kid out of trouble, to pad their application for college. You know, they've had these activities that they do. And for them, sports was just an afterthought. It wasn't important. It was foolishness in some cases for some of the parents. And so I started to kind of realize what was going on there. But I would tell everybody the same thing. I said, now imagine, no matter what your kid did and when they went to college, and no matter how long they went there, they went to an interview for whatever job it is that they were trying to get. And they're sitting there and they've got all the credentials. They've done everything right. They're, you know, the valedictorian. I'd say they're the top of the top. And there's another kid that comes in there. Everything else is the same across the board. They've done everything right. And then they're having this conversation with the person that's interviewing them. One of the things that they're going to have in their folder, in their application that they put in to try to get this job is that they played sports. I am going to tell you, because I know kid after kid after kid, at some point during that interview, it's going to shift to, tell us about your experience as an athlete at the collegiate level. Because that's a wonderment. It's such a small number of people that get to do it, and your kid has the talent to do it. It will make all the difference. And that's that dream job. That's the one where they're really, really, really going through a whole bunch of people are trying to get this particular job. That can make the difference for them. These are the kind of things you have to think one step ahead. You know, we have this thing, we call it Hawk Mindset. I have a website for that. And I'm going to be selling this stuff here, so this gear on it. And it's being one step ahead of your competition. Now, I designed that for athletes in general, but I think parents are going to start thinking that way too. So that has been going on for years, and I've been able to kind of overcome it. But lately, we've been doing another piece. We've been doing something called Just the Basics, and then we have another piece called Sports Discovery. And Just the Basics is we're taking that kid that's starting out for the first time. Maybe they're doing AYSO for soccer, or they're doing NJB, or they're doing the Little League stuff, or whatever they're doing. and their parent didn't play sports at all. And so they sign their kid up, and most parents, and this is for almost all of us, I was like this too. You think if I sign my kid up, when they go out there, the coach is going to have to show them how to play the game. I don't know how to play, so maybe they'll show them how to play the game. And then you get out there, you go to the tryouts, and your kid just looks lost. Right? And you can see on their face, they're like, what did you get me into? I don't know what's going on here. Every now and then you get a kid that just takes to it. They're very athletic, or they just pick up on it and they do just fine. But most kids, I can see them right away. When my kids were little, I go, this kid doesn't have a clue. They don't know where the out of bounds is. They don't know how to, we did basketball up here. They don't know how to dribble. They don't know how to make a layup. They don't know how to shoot. They don't know how to even hold the ball. All of those things. And so we created something in my neighborhood called Just the Basics. And if anybody else wants to get involved in this, I'm going to try to make it national. I don't need to control anything. But the idea was that the kids are going to learn at least the basics. So when they go out for that initial tryout in the first few weeks, because that coach that's coaching those little kids, they don't have any credentials. They're a parent. One of the parents decided to go ahead and do it because they didn't have enough coaches or whatever's going on, or they have a kid that's pretty good and they want their kid to be the star of the team. Whatever's going on, that coach cannot teach your kid how to play this game. What they have to do, and they only give them a couple of weeks, and they're going to have a game. And usually most of the other parents aren't even serious about it. They have their kid come the first day, they pay their money, their kid's going to get a chance to play, and they're going on vacation for a couple of weeks. And so, or they don't show up for practice, or they got an excuse for this or that, and that coach is going to be frustrated, especially early on. And usually a lot of those kids will fall off because the parent is not serious and the kid's not serious, and those things happen. But my reason for saying this is even in those instances, I've got parents say, well, you know, my kid's not really that athletic, or they really like this, or they really like that. They're not really into this. My kids are great at music, or my kid's really great at math, or my kid's really great at this, just all over the world. And I'm going, if you don't believe in your kid, then you probably shouldn't have them playing sports if you want them to be successful. You have to believe in your child. I don't get this. This is one of the things that frustrates me more than anything. You have to believe in your kid. And so if you believe in them, then believe this, because this is the hill I will always die on. If there is a sport for every single kid, and if you believe that, then you can find that sport. There's 30 plus sports that your kid could play, and they could potentially get an athletic scholarship. And if they find a sport that fits who they are, their personality, maybe they're not that athletic, but they're very sharp, right? They see things that other people don't see. They pay attention. They're very calm. That's your archery, your shooting. Maybe they're very technical, right? They want everything. They got a little OCD there going on. And they like to play golf. It really is a great sport. They got a little bit of athleticism, and they have that. Then they can play tennis, placing that ball in the right place at the right time, at the right moment. That is what they can do. And so these are the kind of things you have to believe in your kid. You guys got to get that through your head. Here's the second piece that I think is just as important. If you know who your kid is, if you really pay attention to your kid, then while they're going to be playing these sports, and you can find a sport for them, and then we show you. In fact, sign up for AthleticSOS. Down below, I give you a code. I give you instructions for how to use the code, and it's no cost to anyone to use our software. Everybody that's using it now is junior high and up. But go ahead and use it, even if you have a younger kid, because you'll see that list of sports that are available that you can get athletic scholarships. And we're going to have some cool stuff. We call it our activity page. That's going to show you some places where you can do things like Just the Basics and sports discovery. And I've got a bunch of people lined up in different states around the U.S. that are interested in that. And I've got people in other countries that are interested in it now. We're really moving. I know I'm very quiet. You don't see AthleticSOS anywhere. I don't advertise it. I work with organizations that already have an audience. And I say, hey, I have this cool tool. Let's work together and figure out a way for us to get these kids moving forward. And so here's the other piece of that. When I was saying, if you know who your kid is, the other piece that we want, that's why I created this activity page inside of AthleticSOS. What else can they be doing while they're participating in the sport, right? They got to go to practice. They got to go to games. They got to get uniforms. They got to do all this stuff. What do you know about your kid so that we can say, hey, while we're doing this, while we're over here, while we're going to do this, let's go do this other thing that I know you like. And so you're going to use sports to keep them out of trouble, to let them learn how to win, how to lose correctly, how to be a good teammate, how to focus, how to have discipline, how to all of the things that go along with sports. We hear about them all the time. those things we still want to happen, but we also want your kid on the way there. You get access to things as an athlete no one else gets access to. And the people you're going to meet along the way, your kid and you as a parent, the people they're going to meet along the way are going to be some of the coolest people ever. Because they are disciplined, they have to do something they want to do. They're looking for friends too. There's a kid just like your kid or just opposite of your kid that are going to connect. And that could be for life, just because of sports. So you get them started, you get them used to that. And so you start to move forward. Your kid is moving forward and having a great time. But the biggest and the coolest piece of this is you get to hang out with your kid in a way where it's almost forced. Because as your kid gets older, I'm telling you, by 12 years old, they really kind of don't want to hang out with you too much. As parents, one of the things we do everywhere we go is we lecture, right? We can't help ourselves. And so they want to kind of stay away from us. But if you are doing sports, you've got to take them. They got to get to practice. They got to do this. They got to go to the game. You can support them in a way where it's kind of forced, but it's a cool thing to do. But if you can find out who your kid is and what they like to do, you start sprinkling that in as you guys go, and you're going to discover cool things along the way. And I don't want to get too far down that road. So that's the second part. So one is that you believe in your kid. The second is that you like your kid. And once you start really delving into who your kid is, you're going to love your kid. Your kid is so unique and so wonderful that you're going to figure that out. And once you start knowing who your kid is and what they like and why they like it, and they'll get quieter and quieter as they get from 12 to 17. There's not much we can do about that. But once you know that kid is, you're going to just look at them across the room and you go, I got a pretty cool kid here. This is a great kid for me. And you're going to want to help them get to where they need to be. And so get a little bit more involved with what they're doing. And believe in your kid and learn how to like your kid. And it's hard because your kid, that's a lot of responsibility on your part. You got to work. You got your own mental stuff going on. If you're married, you got that thing going on. You got life going on. You got friends. You got the world is just in your way. And now you got this kid that's needy, that needs everything from you. And now you're going to throw some sports in there, which means they don't want to go half the time. You got to force them to go. You don't know what's going on. You're sitting out there. It's competitive parents chipping away all around you. I get it. But you're going to either enjoy this journey or you're going to quit, or your kid's going to quit. And so if you want to keep them interested, if you like your kid, if you believe in your kid, you will change their life and they will go on to have what we call a remarkable life. This t-shirt is my favorite shirt. I came up with this, but it's just because this is how I see life, right? It's the curiosity, the imagination, and then let them daydream a little bit and then put a little effort in there and they go on and have a great life. And so these are the kind of things that we want to do. That's why I created Sports Solutions. It's to solve the problem of what do I do if my kid can't get, how do you get an athletic scholarship? That's where I started with my daughter. And then as I went through that, I started to realize how important sports really is in the lives of kids, or it can be if you guys kind of do it the right way. And so I put my money where my mouth is, and I'm building something around that. So hopefully you guys will join with us. So now, even if you have a kid, most of the kids in our system are already junior high, high school, and they're trying to get athletic scholarships. Or we have organizations that are using the software to kind of move the kid on to whatever they're going to do next. Now I would like to get you guys from 5 all the way to 17. Go ahead and sign up. You don't come out of the system once you get in there. It doesn't cost you anything to be in there. And then we're going to start working on that 5 to 9-year-old. That's my next little piece that I'm trying to work on. And so that will be this activities. And then we'll have places in there where you can go and you can try to learn each one of these sports, and you can at least get your kids' toes wet. That's just the basic. Let them learn a little bit about the sport. So when they go out there for the first time, they have some confidence about them, and then they should be in better shape. And then we're going to do the sports discovery. I believe this more than anything ever, that there is a sport for your kid that they can excel at, that fits who they are as an individual, and you will watch them blossom, and you didn't even see it coming because you didn't participate or you weren't that good. And maybe you're not athletic, but there's something about you that could have been successful in one of these sports. So it's so many of them out there. Anyway, I'm really excited about how we're moving forward. I was a little frustrated the last couple of weeks. I kept seeing the same thing over and over, and I had already gone through this with high school parents. And so to see that with younger parents, with them making excuses, not even excuses, I won't even say that. They really have concern. They love their kid, but they didn't want their kid to be disappointed, or maybe they don't think sports is that important, or they didn't see the value in it. And if their kid didn't want to do it, they're already tired. I get it. but let's push through it anyway. Let's see if I'm right on this. So if you want to ride along with us, please go ahead, sign up for AthleticSOS. Like I said, I'll put the information down below. And then there's a little video that shows how to do it. If your kid's in high school, you absolutely need to use our software. And junior high, to get them motivated, go ahead and use it too, so they can get off on the right start. So that's it, you guys. So for this one, do not put your kid in sports if you want them to be successful, if you can't do those two things, that you believe in your kid, and hopefully, even without any of that, that you like your kid. You learn to like your kid. And even if they don't play sports at all, find out who your kid is and start to put them in position so that they can excel at who they are and what they like to do. And that is being a great parent. Thank you, guys. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.